Ireland. Michael, I just want to start off by a recent acquisition there from Barnsley there in January. It actually comes near enough where I live, Barry Cotter. You paid 20,000 there to purchase him there from the Irish Charter League, and he's played with Ipswich in the past in the Championship under Mick McCarthy. Played an awful lot of games there. How's he settling in since arriving in January? And is Barry, do you see him in terms of your first team plans? Obviously, he's moved back from the Electricity League back into English football.
Yeah, Barry's had well, he came in undercooked, he came in unfit, so he hadn't had a pre-season. Um, hadn't had a pre-season, so we got thrown in for a couple of games because we were short on numbers. But we see Barry as a long-term project. It's not. It wasn't a case of we paid him expecting to walk straight in the team. That our players are match fit. He wasn't. He's got to understand that the way we play. A lot of the new signings don't get straight in the team, or my teams anyway, just because there's a framework and a structure to how I want to play. Barry's still learning that. He's had a few niggles. He had a concussion for an under-21s game, which set him back again. So his loading's been a bit down. But no, it's the club. The club have brought him on because they think he's a good player. But for whatever reason, he ended up back in Ireland. And sometimes when they come back over for the second chance, sort of the penny drops. We just talked about a few other players there. He's definitely hungry. He's lively. He's enthusiastic. He wants to learn. So in terms of how he's been around the place, it's been great. He's just unfortunate in terms of wasn't fit. And the team's been going really well. You know, we just won 10 and 13. He's gone unbeaten in 12 since he's come in the door. So it's hard for him to force his way in at the minute, but we're still working with him. And probably next season, when you see the best version of him, I'd imagine.
And do you really see that hunger, that determination this time around from Barry to make it in English football? Obviously, he came in and he had a real sort of successful start under Mick. When Mick left in Cardiff, it sort of dropped away. When the new manager came, he came out of favour. He went out on a loan, probably lost the love of it. But he's come back in. Do you see the love back in it in terms of the game? Do you really see that he's determined this time around to take the chance all guns blazing?
Yeah, well, one thing is Barry is enthusiastic. You normally hear him before you see him. So he's normally talking and he's great. He's got great energy around the place. You talk about you don't want mood hoovers, you don't want energy sappers. He's anything but that. He comes in, the room lights up when he's around. So he's been fantastic around the place. Like I said, he's still learning. We're still trying to help him. Still getting over this concussion. So he's back in training now, but he would have played for the 21s this week, but he wasn't allowed to because of his loading. And all things. Yeah, but in terms of he wants to make it work. And we've had to almost tell him to cool his jets a couple of times because he wants everything yesterday because he's had a little taste of it at Ipswich and he's had a little taste of it with us. But yeah, so we're almost trying to not calm him down, but just get him to realise where he's at with us and himself. But no, in terms of around the place, he's been great and he's desperate to learn, which is what you want to work with.
I suppose, Michael, goals have been plentiful for Barnsley this season. When you look at Devante Cole with 12 goals, James Norwood with 9, Phillips with 8, Benson with 6. You're probably one of those top scorers in the sort of division. In terms of that sort of goal scoring threat, you almost feel like that once you score one goal, if you get a goal early on, that others will follow fairly soon, because that seems to be the trend with Barnsley. Once they get an early goal, normally one or two seem to follow.
But we're confident we've got goals in the team and all around the team as well. So when we're not quite out, we score from a set play on Tuesday night. So we've said it all along. We've always had to find what we don't think we've got a 30-goal striker in the league, and I'm not being disrespectful to the players that we've got. But the positive side of not having a 30-goal striker is we've got goals all around the team. Like you said, there's 4 or 5 players in and around double figures there. So yeah, we're always confident of scoring. I know people make a thing about the record about going 1-0 up and 1-0 down. A lot of those 1-0s earlier in the season were a lot earlier in the season. You know, we went 1-0 down the other night, came back, obviously got beat, went 1-0 down against Portsmouth a few weeks ago, came back. So yeah, we're always confident we've got goals in the team now. We've not had many shutouts.
And I suppose in terms of the opposition, Morecambe, you touched on Nias, you touched on Pape Soare, but in terms of Morecambe, all it takes is, you know yourself, is one win for a team down the bottom to gather momentum. And I suppose form, obviously, confidence might be a bit low. How important is that first goal in key games like that against a team whose confidence is maybe on a bit low, probably feeling a bit down with them sort of selves? Is that first goal so crucial because it really can kill their challenge, or it can also sustain their challenge if they were to score first?
Well, statistically, without stating the obvious, it's always important to score the first goal, but it isn't the be all and end all. So we've been good at home, scored the first goal and gone on. But there's no way in the next 9 games we're going to get it all our own way. So the chances are we are going to concede the first goal. And it's how we react. So hopefully we go and get it and go on, and everything's a hunky dory. If it isn't, it's a different challenge, different shape. They might drop into a different shape. So the game is constantly trying to evolve, and you're trying to fix the puzzles that it puts in front of you. So if they score the first goal, we'll have to try and work it out. But there's a confidence in the group that we've got goals in the team and we've got goals on the bench as well. So whichever way it goes, we're always confident of getting a result.
And final 2 questions from me, Michael. First of all, I just want to touch on Luca Connell. Terrific sort of playmaking talent. Has he sort of physically developed? Has he sort of, because he always had gifted talent, always a good passer ball, probably a bit light physically. Has he really sort of bulked up in terms of the physical demands that needed for English sort of football now?
I think, well, I can't ask the question whether he's bulked up or physically developed because I never saw him before. I saw him this year. But in terms of he's played a lot of games, and the one thing you wouldn't question is physicality. So that probably answers your question in itself. He's been absolutely brilliant for us. He's been a brilliant find. Obviously got in a Bolton and Celtic took him for a reason. But in terms of everything he does, he makes a lot of what we do. And he's been